Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another coffee and chat with one of our amazing instructors. Oh, your coffee cup's better than mine.
Of course, it's also bigger. Not that size matters.
No, but it does with coffee. It does with coffee. Storm here, she's from South Africa, born in Durban. She studied video technology at Durban University. She's also was lucky enough to be sponsored to study web design and development at EWB. But she also studied marketing at the University of South Africa. So she's well into studying and she's one of our fantastic teachers. So what was it that sort of made you get into digital marketing and branding, Storm? What was it that drew you to it?
It actually happened by accident. I was working at an American style summer camp as a camp counselor.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, in my holidays when I was studying video technology. And I absolutely loved it there. It fed my soul. Just one of those things that just made me happy. I used to skip varsity to go and spend longer.
Right.
That's a camp.
Nice.
And yeah, it got to my last 6 months of studies, and they basically said you're going to have no time for extramurals. It's basically balls to the walls. You got to give everything you got to these studies. And so I told the summer camp I wasn't coming back, and I just went into this deep depression for about 2 weeks. But in those 2 weeks, because I moved around so lot as a child, I went to so many schools. I organized presentations for the summer camp at every single one of the schools that I'd been to all over the country. And they called me up and they were like, well, would you like to apply for a job in our marketing department because you're doing such a good job? And I went, this is a sign. I'm going to drop out of varsity. And they went, great. We need a marketing strategy on our desk by Friday. And I'm going, cool. Google how to write a marketing strategy. So I wrote this 3-page strategy, sent it in. They called me back for a second round of interviews. And they said, listen, you've been shortlisted between 3 people because you've got such a passion for the place.
Yeah.
But the other 2 both have at least 10 years of experience, and their marketing strategies were like 1 million pages long, and you had 3. And I was going, well, that's it. I'm done. And for some miracle happened, and they hired me.
Good. They should. You're awesome.
Yeah. So obviously I go and I read all the books on marketing and Google all of the things. And yeah, within 6 months, I was marketing manager. 2 years later, I had tripled the income of the resort.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, okay, so what you're saying is you had a passion for the place. You did your research. I mean, it was just desktop research. You typed in how to make a marketing plan and you adapted it for what you needed and you just got it done. Awesome.
Yeah,
Absolutely
pretty much.
awesome.
A lot of it was just sort of jump and build the parachute on the way down.
Now, imagine that you walked in to help coach yourself. What would you teach that young, bright, bushy-tailed, probably very scared Storm who is about to make that thing? What would you say to her? What would you help her do?
Brand strategy first. Branding. If a company has good branding, it's evergreen. It lasts forever. Yeah. It's immortal. Yeah. So that's how you immortalize a brand. I mean, if you look at the best brands like Coca-Cola and Nike, and they have this consistent branding that hasn't changed. They've stayed the same and they've stayed consistent in their branding and their messages, and they are supported because of that. They are not supported because they post every day on Facebook.
Brilliant. I love that. And so brand strategy is always the first, having an idea of, you know, your customers and how they react with your brand and things like that. And just knowing how to match what you do with what they want. Specific skills that you need to be able to be a successful brand or digital marketer.
So definitely the empathy to put yourself in other people's shoes.
Right.
And understand where they're coming from, what their problems are, and explain it on a ground level.
Mm. Brilliant. And what about some of the sort of hard skills? Like, is it like Photoshop? Is that the thing that we need to learn, or Illustrators? What is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, for marketing, as I said, it starts with the brand. So you can go entry level. You can use free programs. You don't need to have the biggest, best design. You don't need to have it's having the brand that's there. So, I mean, skills that are going to help you, obviously, yes, having things that look nice are definitely going to help, but your first design is always going to be your worst. Your first website is always going to look horrible. Your first sales campaign is always going to be the worst. So also to have that resilience to sort of say, okay, I'm taking this. It's not a failure. You fail forward. You learn from it.
Yeah. Brilliant. I love that. So yeah, having good plans and failing forward is something I definitely want to start looking at. I love how you talked about the empathy, because, you know, when you're just creating the words just for a Facebook ad, you know, knowing how to say, are you worried about your family, for whatever reason, knowing that empathy and knowing how to connect to them through those words, through the pictures, through the video, interactive media, whatever it is. Brilliant. Love that. Now, is there a funny story that you can tell us from teaching that's that's appropriate?
A PG one.
A PG one. Is there any sort of PG funny teaching story that jumps to mind?
Well, I don't know. I have a lot of it was actually with the WCB agency.
Right.
One of our current clients actually started out as a student of mine learning digital marketing. And we sat down for a little brief a couple of weeks ago, and he brought up some things that I had taught him in the digital marketing class. And I literally I got so proud, I got teary-eyed. I was going, oh, he listened.
Nice. Oh, I love that. So I've had that before. And I remember once, I think a funny story from me is I had a student, I don't know if he's listening, but he did 2 lessons with me, right? 2 weeks later, I saw him advertising himself as a digital marketing consultant on LinkedIn. He'd never done any marketing before. He had 2 lessons with me, and then he started calling himself a consultant. I was like, okay, either I'm an amazing teacher or you're not quite telling the truth. Right. Now, there's so many things changing in marketing. There's so many things staying the same, as you've said, with brand strategy and things like that. But is there anything in the industry at the moment that's exciting, Stormstein? Something that you're like, oh, I want to learn more about. I want an opportunity to do that.
Google.
Yeah.
Being friends with Google. And I mean, they've got all sorts of algorithm updates all the time. So keeping up to date with that knowledge is so important. So in May, they've got a huge algorithm update coming up for mobiles and tablets. Basically, if your website does not primarily support mobile and tablet first, you're screwed.
That is the technical term, ladies and gentlemen. One thing I've gleaned from what you've done and what you've said in the past is, you know, the journey is so much more important than the destination with regards to marketing. So learning to love that journey, learning the fact that you will never learn everything. I stepped out for 1 year from digital marketing. I stepped out for 1 year, and my God, do I feel behind. Like you are personally, you're constantly moaning at me because I don't know things. So, and I still, yeah. So yeah, so it's, and again, that's something that you'll get from a course at Web Courses Bangkok. You have the teachers who do it day to day. And that's one of the beauty of our courses. Now, speaking of things like tools and things like that, is there 3 tools that you cannot live without? And you're welcome to do 3 tools for professional and 3 tools for fun, whatever you want. But some of the things that for people listening, they're going to start Googling it straight away. What are 3 things that we should start Googling?
So definitely, and I know you've hopped on this train, is especially for freelancing, to get all the information up front and get people to actually get on a call with you to get your foot in the door.
Calendly.
Yes.
Love Calendly. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Brilliant.
Yeah, so definitely Calendly. I use Clockify as well, which basically integrates with everything and helps me calculate my hours and how much clients need to pay me.
Yeah.
And then, I swear by Otter as well, otter.io.
Yeah.
That basically transcribes meetings. You can listen back to them, but it transcribes them into words. It's great, especially if you're doing content writing. It takes half of the work out for you. So you just word vomit the basic content that you want, go back, copy, paste, and edit.
Brilliant.
And it becomes a blog post.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful little coffee and chat with our Storm. You can catch her teaching mainly online, which we hope to get her over to Thailand soon. And she teaches things like branding and strategy, social media marketing, advertising. She's also an absolute whiz in design and illustrator as well. So if you ever wanted to do courses like that with us, you can let us know. So Storm, you're amazing. You're a kick-ass. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, make the internet your bitch. Bye.